Yeah, baby,
Hi,
we here.
Don.
Hey, what's up?
I'm here.
All
Nice
right.
glasses.
I know. They're my hipster.
Looks so cool.
I took my motorcycle over to get an oil change today. So I have my motorcycle shirt on that I wear underneath my motorcycle jacket. Ah, anyway, I got your note. I'll be looking at your pictures and then we'll go over them probably Monday.
Okay.
If
Sounds
that's
good. Now, I'm a little bit confused because prior to P52, everything I have is editorial.
that's all right.
And I have my Water Dancers collection,
Yeah,
the
no, that's all good. You still love to do that and you're good at it and you should do it. Absolutely. I don't want you to
and
turn your back on all the great stuff that you've done at all.
and I have some portraits that I've done. And I was thinking in recreating the website to include product photography. And Derek, because he's the writer in the house, he would like to, we talk about having the umbrella business, including with his writing and creating the books, but under the umbrella will be my photography. So,
Sure.
and because my name is so long, I need to change that. I was thinking of Lee Johnson or Lee Cuevas, I don't know. So just compress it somehow.
Yeah, that's definitely something to think about when you're looking to build a URL or a business. I mean, you know,
Exactly.
my name is too long. I always thought, plus nobody knows how to spell it,
Exactly.
whether
Oh, and a picture, my name, Ligia Cuevas Johnson. They're like, hello. It's like this figure, and I said, it's not. If I put Ligia, they will go like, no. If I
yeah.
put Lee, it's more comfortable.
Well, I love Leisure.
I love the way the name spells, and I love the even when nobody can pronounce my name. I love it because I go from Ligia, Likia, Ligi. It's I don't mind at all.
Well, it's one of
Actually,
those.
I kind of enjoy it.
Reminds me of that old saying, I don't care what you call me, just call me.
Just call me, exactly. So I really don't dislike the name, having the name Ligia, because it's very distinct. If nothing else, everybody remember the name that they cannot pronounce. And like, remember the girl said, yeah, that's the name that she has the name that nobody can pronounce. Oh yeah, that's Lee.
Well, guess what? Leah.com is taken.
Really?
Yes, the guy wants $119 for it.
My name is taken?
It's taken, yeah.
Are you kidding me? How could my
Let's
name
see
be
what
taken?
else is available. Leah.us is available. Leah.me is available.
Oh,
That's going to be more and more popular.
yeah.
The .me, that is going to be very, very popular.
Leah,
There's
that's me.
there's Leah World, but that sounds like a porn site. What I'm
Yeah.
doing. Leah Leah New York City, Leah VIP, Leah CAC. So there's Leah.me, but let's see what else we got. Leah. Oh.
Hi, Jay.
Leah Photo.
Oh,
Oh, wait a minute. leahphotocom.com. Oh, that's weird. Hold on. Why did it do that? Leahphoto.com is available, and photo is an F-O-T-O, not the P-H-O-T-O.
Okay.
Leah Photo, Leah dash photo is available. Leah-photo.com is available. I do like the Leah.me. I really do.
I really like it too. I probably need to go and grab it.
Yep.
Like today.
Yep.
Right.
Because
I already registered to Square.
Yep.
To Square. What's it called? Square Web. Square. Yeah. Yep. I will grab it.
Eleanor, are you there?
I am. Hey there, Don.
Good. Did you get my message about the free images?
Yes, and I got them off to you that afternoon.
You did. You're right. I forgot. You got them.
No worries. I was just kind of getting to know the system still.
Yep. No worries. So we are all ready to go.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I wonder where is Sid?
Hey, Don, just a quick question.
Yes.
Would you like me to send you the links for the other portfolios? And
Are
then
they
we discuss it on Monday?
in one folder?
What happened is I created each folder for each collection. I can send you the link for each folder. Would that work?
Aren't they in one main folder?
No, should I create? I can put them all in one folder.
Yeah, put them all in one folder.
Okay.
All right. So Eleanor, tell us about being in Seattle too. What's that like?
Yeah. Well, at the moment, it's a lot of transition. You know, it's in process. But yeah, I like Seattle a lot. It's what people say is it's like the Bay Area used to be.
Okay.
People are pretty real, and there's a good vibe up there. There's nice weather. It's getting so hot and dry here in the Bay Area. It's crazy, and you're just waiting for the fire season now, as opposed to
we already got it here.
Oh, you have? Okay.
The beautiful drive from Phoenix to Globe is now decimated.
Oh.
So we used to have a beautiful drive from Phoenix to Payson. It's decimated. All the cactus are burned. All the hills are burned. That was decimated last year, and now from Superior up to Miami and past into Globe and all the way down south is burned. And yesterday we were getting notice that they didn't think they were going to be able to save the Arboretum, which is right outside of Superior, Arizona, and it's because of where it's located. They had plant species from all over the world. It's been there for like 50 years. And they didn't think they were going to be able to save it. So,
yeah, that's really sad.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Really pretty brutal.
I think there were like 70,000. I stopped getting the Arizona Republic, so I lost track of stuff like that. But there was 70,000 acres burned from the other day that I saw.
Marion, my wife said the acreage now is like something like 500,000 acres, but that doesn't sound
500,000.
That doesn't sound right to me. Marion, how big is that fire up there at top of the world? Did you say yesterday that fire up there was 150,000 or 50,000 or 500,000 acres?
Where?
Never mind.
No, when we were looking up by St. John's?
Up by Superior.
Oh, the fire. Oh my gosh. It's like 85,000 acres now.
Yeah, almost 100,000 acres.
Huge. mean, that's bigger than the one that was up by north of it.
Yeah, they said it's one of the fastest moving wildfires in history in Arizona. It just is just eating up the ground. So if you look on a map where you see Globe and then you see a road that goes off from Globe down to Florence, that whole area is closed now. The whole area is burning. Used to be one of my absolute favorite places to go, and it's just gone.
Yeah, there's a place called Picket Post out there that I
Wait a
haven't
second,
been
wait.
to, but people go out there for celestial photography because it was totally clear skies, and you get a fabulous vantage point, and it's just all burned out.
Yep, yep. For the last 10 years, they've been fighting over Oak Flat, right?
Right.
A mining company owns it, and then one of our senators sold some land around it, and the greenies moved in, and they're fighting for it, and everyone's fighting for it. I mean, it has been millions and millions of dollars. It's gone, just burned up. So that's life on the blue ball.
Yeah, house insurance, up at Sea Ranch, Don.
Uh-huh.
So when we first got that house, I think it was about $1,000, and it's been going up steadily. This year, my premium is $2,500 for the house.
That's high.
Yeah, because it's wooded up there. Even though it's coastal, it's still got the woods behind it, and I guess insurance companies pretty much don't want to insure properties now so close to forest.
Yeah, that's becoming an issue here in Arizona as well. Though, up around Flagstaff and people buying the cabins in the woods.
Oh, right,
Their
right.
insurance is going way up there. Yep, but life on the blue ball, as they say, everything changes.
Yeah, we adapt.
Yeah, are you gonna maintain your residence in the Bay Area and Seattle as well?
No, just Sea Ranch and Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess you could say yes. But I won't be based in Marin.
Okay, so Sea Ranch is north of Marin, right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, very good.
Mhm.
For Lee and Don, who don't know Eleanor, Eleanor is one of my true stars, true absolute stars. When Eleanor came to the class, I mean, you were pretty much a beginner. Am I correct?
Yes, I just bought a camera the year
Just
before.
bought the camera.
Yeah.
Take a look at her website, folks. For a photographer who just bought a camera, check out where she is. And I credit that totally to her because her work ethic is really outstanding. Really outstanding.
Thank you, Don. It was just being part of the community and having you at the helm. It's just a great way to learn. It's a great way to advance.
You're still working with Bart too, right? No, you were working with where you bid for the jobs. Was that you?
That was Upwork.
Upwork.
Yeah, I haven't done much. Upwork has gotten very, race to the bottom like now. And it's just not where, I mean, you just fall off your chair when you see the prices that people are bidding.
It's almost like, this morning I was listening to a guy on a podcast and he was saying about Instagram and a couple of other things, social media things, that everything seems to be a race to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely incredible. Now there's another online place where you supposedly can find a photographer. And so you type in what you're looking for, like headshots, and you get back 27,000 names because they don't have any gatekeeper. You can just go and sign up as a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody looks at your portfolio. Nobody decides if you're any good or not. And that's pretty much a travesty.
It seems like the key is over and over again. I keep coming back to it and keep learning about it, that specializing is key. Otherwise, you're just another photographer. But if you really know your niche and you know what the value, how you can add value to those niche customers,
You gotta
then
have one thing. that you do really, really well,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
2 things that you do really well that boost that one thing. So
Mm.
food, lifestyle, restaurants, or something like that. Because if you start going wider than that, really, really difficult.
Mhm.
So what are you focusing on? Last time I looked at your book, you had food, product,
Yeah, no, the
tabletop.
focus is the wine industry.
Yeah, all right.
That's the focus. Now it's very slow. If you'd have told me when I started out, David and I are working together on this, and it just takes a month goes by, and you think I've barely moved the needle. um, it's just a very slow process getting into a market. Um, and I told you about the book that David's reading and recommended, Traction. Did you get a chance to look at that, Don?
I did. I bought it.
Oh yeah, it
Hello, hello.
Welcome back.
no sound.
You
Don,
muted,
you're still
Don.
muted.
Did this to me yesterday. So sorry. It seems to be something that haunts me right now, whether I can't tell whether it's my internet or Zoom, but I will tell you this, my internet just seems strong. I'm not losing my internet at any time, but Zoom is cutting in and out. So sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah. If you stay there, I'll come back. So,
But in this book, he talks about, the whole idea is to create traction around your new business. If you don't have some sense of momentum, it's very difficult to make anything successful. And so the 2 channels we're focused on at the moment is SEM. And I don't know nothing about Google Ads, but David's outsourced some work and he's learned a lot. And PPA Replay, it's called. They have some good resources there, and one of them is about SEM for photographers. It's well worth listening to if anyone has that membership. And then I'm just going to wineries and pressing the flesh and just really talking to people, but to get really clear on how we can add value to the wineries. It's a bit more difficult than I thought.
the one-to-one marketing is today it's a winner, and it's always going to be a winner, even though you may be doing quote mass marketing, even though you're not those kind of numbers. Even if you do it, it's still one-on-one business. They have to know what you can do for them. They have to want you to do for them. I just finished reading a book that's about 6 or 8 years old. Thinking about putting it on next or August book club thing, but it's about identifying who your customer is. Are you guys familiar with the ad agency what they use in Avatar? Sid, you're familiar with Avatar? No?
No.
An ad agency, what we would do with the agencies, we'd talk with the client, we'd develop a brief, an internal working document for that, and then we would sit down and create an avatar. We have 2 customers, Jane and Joe. Jane is 30 years old. She's a professional, and on and on. We would identify that. And then we would like flesh them out, have an illustrator do, here's Jane and Joe. For Omnicell, we had Jane and Joe, and they were buyers for hospital equipment. Joe was about 45 to 50. Jane was a little bit about 10 years younger. Because we knew the numbers, we could get the demographics. And then everything we did, we had to ask ourselves, is this something Joe would want? Is this what Joe is looking for to make his day easier? Okay, we should do the same thing with photography. We should do the exact same thing. Who is our client and what are we giving them? Too many times, photographers think that we're in the business of selling them photos.
Mhm.
And many times we're not. We're delivering them a promotional piece. We're delivering them something that makes them feel better. We're delivering them something that will help grow their business. It's only a photograph if you consider it so. We have to look at it from their point of view. It's hard. Sid, now Sid is you know, he's a man among men. He's a giant among in the industry. And at the last time I heard, Sid was charging as much as $10 for a headshot. Now I don't know how he does that, but the amount of money you pay for a headshot, Sid, could you turn around and get one of those done every week? Could you afford it yourself?
No, I try to price myself to a point where I couldn't afford myself because I'm not the person I'm trying to hire. Like I started at a certain price point because I don't want window shoppers. Like I don't want the $10 or the $50 headshots. So when they go to my website, right away it says starts at this amount. Hopefully that will cut out that lower price point thing.
Yep. So you should think about, because I know you're into the characters and thing, you should think about some avatars. Female, male avatar. Who are you looking for? What do they drive? What kind of stuff? And you'll start to get a clearer view of what your customer is looking for. They need promo pieces. They need to, they're bringing out a new album. They need cover art, that type of thing.
Yep.
And it just kind of clarifies. When we started doing that, we were in business for 2 years before we started with the avatar thing. And that came from one of the young art directors that we hired. He introduced the agency to that idea, and I glommed onto it. I've been doing it ever since. I have a Jane and Joe for Project 52. I do. I have, and neither one of them are under 30.
I was waiting for the
Right.
punchline.
Right.
They're not.
Yeah, you have to.
Not my market. I
Yeah.
know who exactly I appeal to and who I want to appeal to. So,
Yeah,
except for
if you
David,
can.
except for David Eller,
Yeah, he was the. He
and
stood out.
he was the winner of he won it as a prize on one of the Friday.
Yeah.
The Black Friday things I did.
So pardon my ignorance on this, but when you say avatar, you mean the profile of your target.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And what and Don, I take it all the way out to a picture. Now, my 2 pictures are actually photographs I got off of the web somewhere. I don't care. I'm not showing them to anybody, so I'll plagiarize like crazy. But I've got a probably 45-year-old woman, professional, artistic, and I've got about a 55-year-old guy who's professional, artistic. Both of them are in later stages of their career, both of them. And then I look around at the people that I bring in, and I'm dominating. That's exactly who I bring. It's the voice that I have brings those people to me. I just watched a video of a young lady who her video says, I hired 4 freelancers from Fiverr to retouch my photograph, and this is what I got. This seems to be a very popular title for YouTube videos because everyone's doing it, right? And she showed the picture. It was awful. It was just awful photograph. It's like, what? It's like some girl standing there with a bunch of delivery vans behind her on the street. And you can go, did you see the delivery vans when you took the picture? But it's been up since February and she has 1 million views.
Why?
Because I don't know. Because her demographic is probably other 17 to 25-year-old girls who just got a camera and she's a quote fashion photographer, even though she has no published work. She's just famous on the internet. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not running her down. That's just fine. That's a whole new business that's arisen. That's fine. And she, to her credit, she's not out there trying to sell, packages on how to be a top photographer, but her appeal is to a younger demographic of girls who like that kind of overdone fashion with the hair way up, and then there's a bird nest in the hair, and the girl's wearing wrapped with 15 things, and she's standing there like this and all that stuff, and that's fine, but that's totally the demographic. I would have to do that to reach that demographic, and I wouldn't reach it anyway because I'm their grandfather, because
Right.
no young person wants to hang out with grandpa. I'm okay with that. It's where I am. Nothing I can do can change that. So just accept it. So anyway, so we got a bunch of people here. I saw something, and I wonder how many of you guys saw it. It's a big brouhaha on TikTok. I'm not a TikTok user, so I heard about it secondhand. And what it was some young lady sang a song. Apparently TikTok is a lot of music, so this is normal. Some young lady sang a song, and then what you do on TikTok is you take hers and you record a harmony to it.
Okay.
Or you can put chords to it or something. So this other young lady sang a harmony to it, and she sang a very contemporary, they use the word crunchy, I would use the word dissonant harmony, that she kept taking the dissonance and resolving it. I really like it. And a lot of people do, but she got brutalized, just brutalized on TikTok. I mean, to the point where I don't know if she took her thing down, but she apologized for doing it, which was a terribly silly thing for her to do. But anyway, and Adam Neely did a really good breakdown of exactly what she did and how she did it. Sid, you're a musician, right?
I do not. No. I
Oh,
just
okay.
surround myself around music. I cannot play music at
Oh, okay.
all.
Does anybody here play music at all? No one? Okay.
No.
Then I will not explain or even try. But it's very crunchy, and it's uncomfortable a little bit, right? And Adam said, when you think about it, young people today demand conformity. And I'm sure he's not talking about every young person, but if you look at TikTok and Instagram, conformity gets you hits, non-conformity doesn't necessarily, even though there's a lot of non-conformists who do very well. And at the same time, I'm having a discussion with a guy at is it Flack? Is it Flack Photo? Hold on. It's a photography. You see which group it is. Oh, Frames, at Frames Magazine online, which is a photo magazine. And he was saying to despairing photographers, look, if you put up a photograph and it doesn't get a lot of likes on Facebook, that does not mean it's a bad photograph. That means you didn't reach out to the zeitgeist, or you didn't hit the norm. Doesn't mean it's not a good photograph. It doesn't mean it's a good photograph either. Just because it's contrary doesn't make it automatically good. It's just contrary. But and watch out for these false metrics of what good is. And I'm talking to this guy that good and bad, these are difficult questions. What is a good photograph? Well, I don't know. That would be, if I asked everybody on here from, what's a good photograph, I imagine we'd have a lot of different answers, and all of them are right and all of them are wrong. They're right for the person who made it, but they're wrong for the other person next to them.
Yep.
So it's a difficult thing when we get into it. We're talking about critiquing photographs. I'm a big believer in not critiquing unless someone's asked for a critique. And if they ask for a critique, I need to know what they were trying to do. Otherwise, I'm just telling them what I would do. So now the critique is not a critique of their work. It's me blathering on about what I would do.
Yep.
Well, who cares what I would do? No one should care what I would do. Please.
Conformity is a funny thing because subgroups have their own idea of what you should do, and there's conformity within the group. So, when goth first became a thing, it was all non-conformist, except among other people who are being goth. Stringent conformity within
Yes.
that community, or Birkenstock wearing people, it doesn't matter, right?
Bikers.
And I say that, Birkenstocks are comfortable, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, biker.
So
I ride a motorcycle. Bikers, when I meet bikers on the road, bikers are like, we're nonconformist. You all wear a black jacket with the pins, and everyone rides a Harley, and and you got the big beard like Sid, but not trimmed like Sid's, and you generally got a big beer belly.
Sid's beard is small by biker standards, right?
Yeah,
Tiny.
and so these nonconformists conform like hell.
Which means that, I mean, if you bring it back to like marketing what you're doing, there are very large niches in each of these spaces. And if you understand their sense of conformity, you can sort of possibly, sell into that, or figure out what would appeal to that group. And it won't be uniform. I mean, I think most people think Ansel Adams' work is good. So there's some that's broader. It's also not a subject that's interesting to everybody. And we don't really need that. We don't need to try and, there's 8 billion people. You're not trying to appeal to 8 billion people. You don't need that big of a market. If you were hot in, the skating community, that's a pretty big community, even though it's a small sliver of the 8 billion.
And you probably would find very few skaters wearing Izod polo shirts and
You'd find none.
And chino pants, right?
Unless somebody did that just to be funny.
Right, because there's a sort of expected thing. We used to laugh about art directors. Every art director I ever worked with in the 2000s wore a button-up shirt with the top buttoned. It was like, oh, you went to art director school, you learned to tie that top button was buttoned. It was like a uniform.
No, it is funny. I mean, I used to sit in front of venture capitalists, some of the people with the most money, in the world, and investing in all these, future Googles, they hope, and all that. And, I don't know if anybody else has experienced that group, but how do you think they dress? Well, you probably can't guess. So I'll just say they like, jeans, but probably a little designer-ish, but not slim fit, fancy, make you look good. But they'll spend money on that, and they'll probably wear a vest, like a Patagonia vest, and they'll probably wear it over a t-shirt or a long sleeve tee, or maybe a button-down dress shirt, but they'll still downgrade the dress shirt to prove that they don't have to dress up for anybody. But they don't need to show themselves, as opposed to, Wall Street's the suit, not the VCs, not Sand Hill Road.
That's right. Not on Sand Hill Road, baby.
They're not doing that. They're not doing that. They're better than that. They don't need to do that. They're smarter than that. So each of these little groups, they have their things. But if I was trying to sell into them, I know what they want to look like, so I would know how to approach that organization, and it better not be with a $4,000 suit, because that would eliminate me immediately.
Eliminate, absolutely. They would say, "Oh, you're trying too hard."
I don't know. I have no idea what they're about.
You don't have enough money to wear a pair of jeans and a sweater to the meeting. That's yeah. It's pretty interesting. But what does this do to art, though? I mean, how? Because we all are going, well, we want to make art that's popular. I mean, at least. I should take that back. I don't really care about being popular. I would like to make art that somebody liked. I'd be very happy if it's a very small niche. I don't care. The bigger the popularity, the more watered down the art generally has to be, for whether it's music or painting or opera or whatever, you know, if you're going to appeal to the widest audience, Mozart's the Magic Flute was one of his most successful operas ever, and it's terrible. Mozart hated it. He wrote it. Do you know why he wrote it? To make money.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of them. Something night, whatever. Shakespeare did Shakespeare did that play, the funny, weird
Midsummer's Night.
Midsummer Night's Dream. Yeah, that was to make money because the masses wanted to see comedies. They didn't want to come and see some of the more highbrow stuff that he was doing. So, you know, so when you water it down, you can be more popular, but we get into really dangerous things because it's like, well, do I want to make my work edgy so that it's not popular and I pick up this crowd? And I don't think that's it either. I think trying to be popular and trying not to be popular are both two sides of the same coin. And I don't think it's good. I don't think it's either one of those things is a good play. So we get back to the middle, which is just doing your thing as well as you possibly can do it and getting it in front of as many people as you possibly can. We think about every, go ahead.
Do what you want to do that you like to do. Find out who likes it so you can figure out your avatar and market to that group. Because then you're still doing what you want to do, but you have found the audience that also loves that. And then you can do more of it and get paid for it.
I just read somewhere in Florida or somewhere they arrested a husband and wife serial murderers. So, you know, there's somebody for everybody, right? I mean, these two wackos found each other somehow. I don't know. Maybe they were at a serial murder bar or something. But yeah, no, you only, to make a living as an artist, you really only need 1,000 fans. Getting 1,000 fans is not easy, but it's 1,000 fans. You don't need to fill an arena, you know, to make a living. You need to fill an arena to buy a $10 million home, but you don't need to fill an arena to make a living. And we do want to make a living at our art.
Yeah.
You know,
There's an article that just came that I just saw the other day called "How to Turn Personal Photo Projects into Paid Work," and it's a guy. He's a good photographer. What's his name? But he lives in Columbus, Ohio. It's what the hell is his name? Nick Fancher. Yeah, Nick Fancher does a lot. And what he did, he wanted to photograph, you know, rock bands and people like that. But he's in Columbus, Ohio, and he said, if I really wanted to do this, I'd have to be in New York or LA. Mm-hmm. And he said, my family says they just wouldn't do it. So what he did was he tracked down who was coming to Columbus, and not the top tier guys, but the people who, the warm-up people that had some future. And he started taking photographs of them, and and then he gradually built up his portfolio. He started doing some stuff that was like off what people would see, which was really nice stuff. And he got called in to, you know, for one of the things to do an album cover, and he got picked up for some other people. And then he was eventually invited out to LA to do some shots for some other musicians, cover work and so forth. And so that's what he wanted. And he found a way to go after that kind of stuff. So, which was a determined effort that took him, I don't know how many years, but he did it. But he also had the skill sets to do it as well. Just walk into it. But I'll put the link up on it. It's really quite, it's a thoughtful piece, and it's a good piece too.
Yeah, we just looked at what makes this photo great. Who was it that we just looked at that did the same thing. He started shooting for free. He started shooting bands for free. Just, you know,
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
shoot them for free. You know, get me in the door to shoot them for free. And within 3 years, you gotta be able to do it for, you can't do it for a month and expect success. But he kept doing it and kept doing it. And boom, now he's the guy they call. And he's now a big time music shooter. It's getting in front of the hardest thing in the world is to get in front of the people who want to hire us, right? So if you're shooting album covers for little bands, my God, who was it? It was, oh, well, I can't think of it. If you're shooting, because what he would do is go to Rolling Stone and the music and spin and say, I know you don't have any budget to shoot these bands that you want to feature, but I'll do it. You know, I'll do it. And look what happened. I mean, look what happened to it. It just blew up. Was it Mark? No, it wasn't Mark. Oh, I'll figure it out. I'll figure out who it was. But it's a great beat. So now you're doing pictures of little bands for Spin. My brother did a lot of photography for Spin. My youngest brother was a photographer for a long time. He did a lot of work for Spin, and they were terrible about paying, literally awful. I mean, I bet he didn't get paid for half the work he did for him. And they just laugh at you if you call them. I've got this invoice. They go, and hang up, because it was rock and roll. And if you didn't want to shoot it for them, there's 80 people standing in line to do it, right? But now he got to meet the band and the manager of the band and sometimes the producer of the band. You get that by doing the picture for free. Then that goes in your Rolodex. If you do it for free and you don't collect the names and you don't do anything with it, then yeah, it is a waste of time. People go, well, I can't eat photo credit. No, you can't, but you can't get photo credit without working for it. And once you get it, you've got to do something with it. You know, it's like a $50 bill. If it's folded up in your wallet and you don't know it's there, it's of no value to you at all. You've got to get those credits and then you've got to do it. And that's what he did. He started pushing himself out, pushing it out until people knew who he was, knew what he was doing. And he's a big time guy now. I wonder if it was Kurt Marcus. Maybe not. Anyway, can't I've done 20 of them now, 20 of my What Makes This Photo Great. I'm pretty pleased with that.
Good stuff. Very good.
I'm closing in on halfway. I get to 26. I'm halfway, 52 photographers. So
Don, I think they're amazing. They're just an amazing series of videos that you've created.
Thank you. I know there are other people who do. Ted Forbes does some beautiful work where he really delves into the photographer and everything. But I'm not doing it to teach everybody else about great photographers. I'm only doing the people who influenced me and what they influenced me about, why I like them. There's a lot of great photographers out there, wonderful photographers that I'm not going to do because they didn't influence me. You know, I didn't draw anything from them. But when I sit and I look at this list of names, I'm pretty pleased. I'm pretty pleased with my list. So,
yeah, it's more diverse than I would have thought. Maybe you started, who was the woman a couple of weeks ago? You started, I mean, I knew her name from, I think, from the portrait class.
Ellen von Unwerth.
Yeah, you don't see, I don't see her name much. I used to, but I don't see it as much now. But yeah, that sort of came up.
Yeah.
What?
She's mostly directing now.
Oh.
So I'm going to be, I've got Mary Ellen Mark. I've got several women. Her name was right. Sarah Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Annie Leibovitz. You know, I mean, Annie was, my favorite Annie period was the first 15 years of her career. The today Annie, not so much. She's so commercialized that it's not. But that whole thing of taking the camera and shooting John Lennon, like his face this close, what a gutsy move. Shit, first job, never shot for any magazine, just a photographer. And the editor says, why don't you shoot the Beatles? And she goes and sits down with John Lennon, turns her camera vertical and cuts him off like boom to here. Just Lennon and his glasses, right? Cover Rolling Stone. You make the cover Rolling Stone just like a band, you're on your way. Now let's get 10 more assignments and 10 more assignments and etc. Look where it led. But what a gutsy move,
So what had you decide to start this series of 20 focused on what they meant to you? How did you decide to do that to begin with?
Oh, well, I just sort of like, I was really thinking about what I can do on YouTube. I have kind of a love-hate relation with YouTube. I think there's a lot of very bad information on YouTube mixed in with a lot of very good information. And I was reading, are you familiar with Medium, Don?
Well, I signed up for it. I
Okay.
don't
So I was reading Medium and I realized that all the articles are basically people who shouldn't be telling you what to do, telling you what to do. It's like just go to Medium and read the headlines on the homepage. And it's like 7 things you're doing wrong in your career, 10 things you should stop doing, 5 ways people don't like you. And it's like, yeah. And it was written by a 26-year-old, barista somewhere. It's like, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to sound like that. I didn't want to put up yet another video. Here's where to hold the fill card. Really? So I thought I would look more at what I like to talk about is the art of photography. Because in my classes, lighting in the Project 52, I get a lot of here's where to put the fill card. Here's how to bring this stuff. I bust my ass on that stuff because that's what they need to know. But when I get out here, I want to talk about the pictures, what makes this picture amazing. So
I was thinking a little bit more about not just what makes it amazing, but the fact that you chose photographers that had an impact on you and that angle to it.
Okay. I kind of didn't want to do another
top 50 list or whatever.
Yeah, because honest to God, Ted Forbes has done a beautiful job with it. And you look at Ted's and look at where he introduces a photographer. He does a beautiful job with it. And I thought, I can't do it better than Greg or than Ted. I can't do it better than him. So I'll link to, if it's a photographer that I'm talking, I'll link to Ted. So you can go and see what he'll give you the real lowdown on it. And I don't, in many cases, I don't have the real lowdown. I just have what that photographer meant to me. And a lot of them are probably going to come from
that's what your contribution is, because it's the personal relationship and why it was important to you. So it doesn't have to do the Ted thing,
and a couple of photographers that I'm going to put up are people you guys don't know because they're 2 local photographers and they'll probably kill me when they see their names up here, but they were really inspirational for me when I was starting out.
Well, I'm going to admit that this whole line of questioning is a leading line of questioning, because I think that's actually incredibly valuable and in a sort of parallel thing. So I read a lot of sports, particularly NBA basketball. I'm a fan. There's one guy who just says, look, here's the young player I really liked this week. And he puts a caveat at the top, said, this is not the best young player. This is just a guy I like.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love reading what he says because it's more personal and it's not any really different. I mean, this player might be player number 8 or player number 13 on the list, And somebody else could have profiled all of them and maybe said similar things, but it feels a little bit different because it's coming from him. And I think to something you said at the beginning of this call, earlier in this call, personal connections are how you sell, how you interact with people. And so bringing what you think, why it mattered to you, I think is people would rather hear. I mean, I'd rather hear that. I know I can go to a top 50 list, and sometimes I will for photography or anything else.
Okay.
But I'm much more interested in why it mattered to you, because we can all look at these things and eventually your eyes glaze over. Okay, what theme can I take away? Is there one? All that. It's much more engaging to hear kind of what's going on with you, which I've been trying to bring back to, how am I going to market myself? Just,
There's a
it's a big world. So interpersonal stuff is so key. And I think that's, whether you were thinking that way or not, I think it's kind of brilliant to do your analysis that way.
there's a little bit of selfishness in there as well. 2020 had a worse impact on me than I thought it did. Okay, if I
Probably
hadn't
a
had,
lot of us. Yeah.
if I hadn't had P52, I don't know, I might be living under a bridge somewhere. I mean, Photo Friday, P52, that type of thing. And I found myself just feeling a little peaked about photography. And I thought, I'm going to go back to my roots, in other words, and look at Skrebneski's work, pull it off the shelf in there, pull it out, and look at it and get excited again. And it's working. It's helped me regain a little bit of that excitement that I felt when I was 26 years old, looking at Peter Lindbergh's work for the first time, or seeing I can remember where I was when I saw Rodney Smith's photographs. I was standing in a Bird Rock magazine store on Highway 1 in La Jolla. And I stopped there all the time because this lady carried all the European fashion magazines, not just Vogue, Sid, all of them. Little weird magazines from Italy that would be like this thin, and then these things coming out of Milan for fall would be like 3 and 4 inches thick. Oh God. And I would go over there with $200 or $300 in my pocket. And I'd go over there probably every quarter, and I'd spend $200-$300 on magazines easily, and still leave going, oh God, I should have got that one. And I was standing there right outside the store. It was very cool. And I opened up this thing and I saw this Rodney Smith photograph. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm turning to, it was like 20 pages, some French editorial. And I'm like this. And I go and show my wife. And I'm showing like people on the sidewalk. I'm like, have you seen this? It was just astounding to me. And now I'm at a point in my life where, I was so much younger then, and Rodney's gone now, and all, so that's kind of why I did it. I want to share 2 pictures with you. I'll give you an idea. Whenever I talk about context, this is what I'm talking about. Here's 2 photographs. Any of these knock your socks off?
Nope.
Nope. Pretty unremarkable, aren't they? These are photographs of artifacts taken from the rubble of the World Trade Center. This young woman won't be going
at them.
Yep. This young woman won't be going home to her children. Neither will she. Now it changes everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
because it's context. And I hit the guys on Framer going, well, you shouldn't have to tell me what the pictures were about. Well, if I didn't have context, would you like this picture? I mean, this was like, I can't see Sid going, oh, I gotta get me a handbag, run it through the dirt and do some stuff for my book. So it's the contrast, and it's these are, I believe, Michael O'Neill, and he talked about how emotional it was to make those photographs, how unbelievable emotional it was. And what they wanted to do, they put them on white. I think it was for National Geographic. I may be wrong. It might have been for the New York Times, but they put them on white for what else do you put them on? Marble or a pretty table or a, plexi? No, just show the thing.
Yeah.
Remarkable. And the other thing was the Paul Fusco. If you don't know this story, Paul Fusco was just a photographer.
Oh yeah, this guy.
Called up from the ranks to cover the RFK funeral train. That went by where you lived, didn't it? See, did it go through New Hampshire, or was it south of? Maybe it was New York to Washington D.C.
Probably.
Probably.
Okay. It was supposed to take
Senator from New York.
Supposed to take an hour and a half for the train, and it took them like 8 hours because they slowed way down. These are people who just came to see the train. Paul's got 27 rolls of ISO 25 Kodachrome in his bag, shooting from a moving train on an f4 lens. They're blurry. You think?
Doesn't matter.
And they're astounding. Just astounding. Made his career. He went from staff photographer to holy shit. And he said when he was doing it, he didn't realize what he was doing, but he knew it was important.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take this picture, if I took this picture here, not that one. Anyway, if I took one of these pictures and stuck it up on Instagram and asked for critique, I'm going to get depth of field is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's not sharp.
Too blurry.
Too big. Didn't
use the right camera. That's not a Nikon.
Dude, learn to use your shutter speed.
Yeah. Is that what is that? Is that mirrorless?
Yeah. Uh-huh. And that stuff just doesn't interest me. That's why I love talking about pictures. But I got to find out what the hell's going on with Sid. I've been talking too much here, Sid. Sorry about that. What's going on?
No, that's all right. I was in late. We've got all kinds of people coming in and out of the building. We have a sculpture symposium that's literally right out my window. And today is the last day. They're unveiling 3 giant sculptures. Tomorrow, the unveiling is tomorrow. And so they've been scrambling to get all their work done. So it's open to the public. And so we have a couple of hosts that will bring people into our building and say, oh, well, not only is the sculpture symposium going on, but here's a bunch of artists that are in here.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So it's kind of nice. So there's been a lot of traffic coming in. There's been a lot of business cards going out and stuff. Most of it is more family type people, which I don't do a lot of stuff with, but I try to convey to them. Now it's like, oh, well, if you know anybody that works for companies, everybody works for a company. So it's been good. It's been busy. And then I do a little thing with the sculpture symposium. We're doing this piece crane project where we wanted to get 1,000 piece cranes that we're going to hang in the city. And we got over 1,500. So that was kind of cool. And so we're sitting down next week and we're making a couple of puppet videos because the puppets recorded these videos on how to make paper cranes. And stuff like that. So we're going to we have to do the wrap up for that and just, thanking everybody. And this is when the opening is going to be and all that kind of stuff. That's been good. It's been quiet. I'm hitting that weird thing where I've got people that are approaching me, but then they're postponing because they're still they're still antsy about the whole vaccination thing and all that kind of stuff. So that's been kind of weird. The last few weeks I've been booking things, but then they've been like, can we push it out till July or August, because they're still a little uncomfortable. So that's been interesting.
Do you do a lot of on location work, or?
I do. Yeah. When they most of the time I do it with musicians. Headshots, usually either they want me to come to their business, or we just do it right here in the studio. But anytime we get like a musician or anything and they want, usually I push location stuff on them. Because they never know. It's funny when you were talking about all the musicians and stuff, they never know what they want. So usually what I do is I give them, just because I've worked with so many, and you know they've got the final files and they don't exactly know what to do with them. You know, they're like, we've got these really nice pictures, but now what do we do? So what I've done is I have a little chart thing that I print out for any musician that comes to me and we have a meeting, and I give them this thing and I say, okay, this was so-and-so band. You know, they didn't know what they wanted, but I give them a 2-page mock-up, and it's like, okay, here's little square images that look like album cover mock-ups, and then here's stuff stretched out so that's Facebook banners, and it incorporates all these selected images that they use of that particular band, so that when I hand it to them, they can see right away. They're like, oh, there's my social media icons, there's my album cover stuff, there's my single stuff, there's my stuff for Audible and SoundCloud, here's my Facebook, you know, things in different various sizes. So right away they're like, oh, okay, so when I book a shoot, then we can also start talking about the intended purpose, the uses, the intended uses for these things. Because a lot of times they don't know. And I'm one of these guys where it's like, I don't want to give somebody an image and then see it, you know, as some like shitty poster through Kinko's, or have them throw like Instagram filters all over it and screw everything up and knock the colors out of whack and stuff. So I'd rather give them ideas where it's like, this is what you can do, and this is what you can do, this is what you do. But then I also say, don't do the following. Don't throw Instagram filters all over. Like, I don't want people seeing my work all smushed.
Do you have that contractually as well?
Yeah, usually I just have a little brief thing that just says, you know, please do not alter these images in any way unless you specifically have talked it over with me. I give them a little leeway, like if they want to make a Facebook banner and they want to stick their name like going across the banner and stuff, that's cool. Most of the time, if they ask about that, I'll go ahead and mock something up, because usually I like to play around with fonts anyways, and then I'll just sort of throw it out the back door to them. But yeah, usually I try to strongly push them into like, here's the stuff you can do. Please don't do this. Don't make them look ugly. And a lot of times they don't know. Like, they're like, oh, I'm gonna throw on Instagram and I'm gonna throw all these cool filters on it, and it's like, it's cringeworthy. So I have to sort of be like, you paid some good money for these, and I support, I back these images up as they are, as I process them, as they look. These are the images that I want you to have. You know, don't screw with them and make them look gross.
But is that all part of a contract at the beginning when you start with them?
Yeah, usually we talk, like they'll sit down and a lot of times they don't know what they want. So it's like, okay, well, we could start with stuff on white, and you'll get some, nice clean images that we can turn black and white, and they'll look really crisp and nice. You can use it, and then I'll try to get an idea of what they want. Like, sometimes they're like, well, basically I want something that I can print out as a now playing gig poster thing for all the local places. Or some of them are just like, I need to updo my social media and I want new images for that. And I need stuff for, wherever they have all their music digitally. So like SoundCloud and iTunes and all that and stuff. So basically they're looking for little tiny things. So I try to sort of handhold them through the whole process, because a lot of times they just don't know what they want.
I mean, I'm interested in the contractual part of it, just because I haven't really developed that. But the rest of it, it's funny. I mean, it's not different than like selling a house. People have no imagination about what the house can be. So the people who are good at selling, they stage everything because nobody knows, right? They can't even imagine a different color.
Right.
Like,
right.
oh, I wish this room was a different color. I won't buy the house.
Right.
Right. So you have to do kind of what you've just done, which is show this is the banner stuff.
Yep.
This is
you have to,
stuff,
because they don't know.
I mean,
they don't
totally get that. You that's unrelated to contracts. That's just part of helping people who, if they've done it 1,000 times, of course they have an eye too, but most of them don't.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing to this day that I still have a difficult time with is when we get to like talking about copyright and contract type stuff. The minute I start talking about that sort of stuff, like they completely glaze over and they're like, what, I don't understand. So a lot of times I try to break it down as simple as possible. And it's just like, okay, look, you know, you're getting these files. They're going to be sized for like a 13 by 19 gig poster. You know, you can print out 13 by 19 gig posters. You can usually do those at, you know, any of the local printing places, or you can outsource it or whatever. But then I have to say things like, okay, let's say you're doing a gig and, you know, Monster Energy Drink decides they want to sponsor you on a tour. And I'm like, you can't give them these images. They have to come to me because they're not you. These are like, one thing I tell them is they're non-transferable files.
Untransferable. There's
Yeah,
the
so
word.
you can't take these and you cannot give them or sell them to anybody else. Like if Monster wants to sponsor you and do big, you know, tour buses and shit, that Monster's got to come to me and license those images. You can't take those images and use them. And I had a small problem a while back. I worked with this musician for a long time, many years. And he finally signed with a record label. And I had told them at the time, you can't, like, don't give these. This is just, they're yours, but they're not yours to give away. And it came to a matter of doing a different pressing through this label. And he just gave them the images. And I was just like, and then it just got into this big argument with the record label and everything. And so from that point on, it was just like, okay, it says it right there. It's just like, these are non-transfer. I put it right in the meta tags of all the files too. It says these images are to be used for this, and this. If they're small images, it's just for social media, websites, Facebook, blah, 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 blah. Files are non-transferable for any additional licensing or anything like that. It has my contact information right in the metadata of the file and stuff like that. And they know I'm like, you can use them for these allocated things. And if anybody wants to ever use them for anything else, they have to come to me.
Yeah, and
So,
I think today I'd probably make that one of those things that they have to initial.
Yeah.
Because people just
they don't. And
They
just
don't.
trying to explain licensing they completely lost. Like, it's just half the time I lose them. I've lost people that have come in and we've had session meetings just to talk about a future shoot. And they get down to, you know, they're like, okay, well, what about usage? And I start talking about this stuff and they're just like, man, yeah. You know, I had one guy come in one time, he had a meeting with me. He was really interesting. And he got all hung up on the whole licensing thing. And he said, that would be, he goes, well, I want all the images. And I'm like, okay, well, that would be an image buyout. That's a separate price. It's totally doable, but this is what it would cost. And he said, well, that would be like if I was a plumber and I came into your house and installed a toilet, but then I charged you a per flush fee. And I was like, and I didn't at the time, I didn't really know how to dance around that. You know, I was just like, well, that's not really the same thing. Yeah, but we didn't have a second meeting. Me and that guy was kind of.
Yeah, it's like trying to figure out the pricing when someone looks at you and go, you want that much money just for taking a picture?
Right.
You know, I said, well, you pay $32.95 for a hardcover book. Shouldn't it actually be worth about $1.12? The amount of paper and, you know, cardboard in it.
Yeah, and that was like I had started doing a lot of family photography and stuff, and that was usually where the difficulty would come. Was, you know, like so finally I was just like, you know what, like I want to deal with clients where they most of the time they sort of know what the value of their images are, more because it's going to be commercial based and there's a specific usage for them.
And if you track it, you'll find that most of the headaches you get are the people who are paying the lower 40%.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. You do like a $15,000 job and they're like, thank you. We'll see you next year. Thanks for the files. You shoot like some dude that does like a $300 shoot and it's like 2 months of headaches because they want this and they want that and they don't understand this and how do I do this and why can I refile this and why can I do this? It's just like, oh my God, like no.
Yep. Oh, and by the way, I want to remind you, Sid, you say you don't do a lot of families and stuff. You know, Herb Ritz did portraits, right?
Well, he did portraits of like the big
no, he did portraits. He'd do portraits of people in LA.
Yeah,
for $10,000.
Yeah. There's a guy on the Seacoast. He's one of these guys where you pay an exorbitant amount of money. He does the session, and then he gives you it's like this giant framed wall print. And that's all you get. That's his thing. He's like, you come in, we do the family portrait. We don't have this thing where you come in and sit down and we go through the images and everything. He picks out the one shot, he prints it to this giant size, it comes framed. That's what you get. And it's like crazy amounts of money and stuff like that.
Yep. His assistant told me that he would shoot it just like he would shoot, Madonna. You get a Herb. He would put as much work into it. So you got a Herb Renz print, black and white. He'd pick 2 pictures, make you 2 copies each, 10 grand.
Yep.
He shot some attorneys. They had attorneys. He had a couple of judges. And people would fly from Europe. Occasionally, you get a Herb Ritz portrait. He never showed them to anybody because they were private commissions.
Yep.
So they were, he just kept it himself. But how fascinating! How fascinating!
How awesome, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
It's totally awesome.
Yeah. But again, what were they buying? They were buying the name.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
And you can't get a name. Oh, do you know how many years Herb Ritz shot for free? Like 7 years.
Yeah.
He was a furniture salesman. Do you know that?
No.
Yeah, Ritz Furniture, one of the biggest furniture companies in LA. Ritz Furniture. He helped people like set up. They'd buy whole housefuls of furniture, and he was like, his father and mom owned it, and he was like the hot shot salesperson.
Oh.
And he tells a story when Vogue called him to do his very first job, which was for an actor named, really good looking actor, officer and a gentleman. Who is it?
Oh, Richard Gere?
Richard Gere. Because he and Richard Gere were really good friends. He started Richard Gere. He shot Richard Gere's modeling headshots and stuff. And Vogue said, we want to do a thing on you. And he said, good, and we'll use Herb Ritz. And Vogue said, no, we'll use our photographer. And Richard said, see ya. They said, okay, never mind. Bring your photographer over. Right? True story. And so Herb had to ask his mom for the day off so he could go and shoot the job.
That's awesome.
Which, of course, she said, absolutely, going, you've got to go do this. But yeah, he was shooting everybody all the time. When he wasn't at the furniture store, he was out taking pictures of people to build his portfolio up. So, when I hear photographers say, I'll never shoot for free, or I've never shot for free, you just lying through your teeth.
Jack. Yeah, you have to. You have to be able to control it. You can't let it take over. But everybody, you have to start somewhere.
But you have to pick and choose what you do.
Yes.
I'm not going to go and shoot a tire distribution center for free.
No. And there's like a triangle. I used to have it on my wall, and it had the triangle had 3 points, and it said something like, it was all in regards to shooting free. And it had to match up with like 2 out of the 3 things, or I wouldn't do it. And it was like, if it would propel if I had complete control over whatever it was, so I could just shoot. And then I can't remember. I'll have to dig it out. I lost it when I moved into this new studio and everything, but it was a good chart to just sort of look at whenever somebody wanted something free. And I'm like, okay, can I match it up with this? And if it doesn't match up with any of that, I'm not going to do it because it's not within my best interest.
You didn't have you can have it free, you can have it fast, you can have a cheap one, did you?
No, I'll have to find it. But I've seen that one too.
I love that one. You can pick 2.
Yep.
You can get it fast and cheap, but it's
not going to be very good. Yeah. But you have to. I've done that. That's just how you start out. You gotta start somewhere, and you can't. I don't know anybody that picked up a camera on Monday, and on Tuesday they were getting calls to get paid to do stuff. It's just networking. It's just, getting out there and letting people know who you are and what you're trying to do. And
yeah, I remember Billy Joel talking about all the cabarets and bars that he'd just go in and play.
Yeah.
Nobody had hired him because he never played anywhere else. So he played for, a couple of years. He'd just go in and play and sit in and do that stuff before he got. Piano Man is autobiographical. He actually wrote that about being the piano guy. You got to set your eye on the prize. Where do you want to be? And that's another avatar discussion we'll talk about someday, is you've got to have an avatar for yourself 10 years out and 5 years out. So what does it look like to be doing what you're doing 5 years from now, so that you have some sort of framework around it? Does it ever work out? Oh, hell no. But at least you kind of know where you're going. You're going to deviate here and like that. Well, they say an airplane is off course 90% of the time, that it just flies, and then that the autopilot corrects it, and it flies for a while, then it corrects it. So 90% of the time it's off course, and that's life too. But if you don't know what you're going for, would you even know if you've arrived at any marker along the way?
Yep.
So anyway, Sid, thank you, man.
Absolutely. Sorry I popped in late.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
I won't be as late next week.
All right. Well, great discussion, everybody. I'm glad you're all here, and we will chat again next week. Oh, and if you want to bring pictures next week to look at, Sid and I would both love that.
Yes.
We would love it if you guys brought some photographs, and we'll take a look at them. And on that note, I'm going to let you go. See everybody. Have a great one.
Have a good week.
Bye, everybody.
Be safe.